Each of us is a walking, talking history book, but each is a story as yet incomplete. What we will remember, what will be remembered about us, and how we will be remembered is yet to be decided. Have you ever noticed that when an old vet is interviewed, and what did you do in the war? We really are asking, what was it like to live then? And the memories of days so long past that stay alive and vivid. The friendships, the romances, the streets in blackout, rations, wounds, and the war's end. We want to hear of heroism and humor and the stories that have stayed alive in memories, often recounted, of a young life in world-changing times. My children used to ask their grandmother what she did in the war. Her stories of co-founding the Queen City Ladies Revolver Club in the Depression years, and then using their talents and range to train Army officers on how to use handguns during the war, gave her grandchildren bragging rights. It was another time and another world that she painted for them, where she no longer was the cookie-baking granny, but a woman of action. She changed, and the world changed. And that is what we have been living through, a world-changing year. Years from now, people will be asking, and what did you do in the COVID lockdown? And they will want to know our memories, how life changed, how work changed, how isolation and death became the norm and changed us. There's no one left to compare memories of those times of the Spanish flu of 1919, but historians will compare such memories in future years as they seek to learn the impact of years of mass death and isolation, the aftermath, and how we function in that new world. We talk about returning to normal, but we all know that it will be a new normal. We just don't know what it will be yet. Will people return to tiny downtown condos, or has the move to the burbs and working at home become the new desirable? Will people accept long commutes or public transit or masks at every cough? Who knows? But these are interesting times to be a part of, history-making times, and we are part of it. There are history books that concentrate on battles and wars, on great men and women, on constitutional matters or exploration or religion or, more recently, social history. Lots of other things were going on at any given time, but any history book only tells a part of the story. Whatever the story, editing is needed to reduce it to manageable proportions. Otherwise, a single day would take years to read. And just as history books tend to concentrate on one aspect or another, our own histories get pared down as well. And that is what we do with our memories. We eliminate so much of what happened each day. While you may remember an outstanding meal from years ago at Winston's, recalling the sandwich you had for lunch last Thursday would prove quite a challenge. Unless, of course, you eat the same thing every day. Have you ever noticed how a night at the theater, if enjoyed alone, is fleeting, far harder to recall than one spent with another? It's in talking about the characters, the storyline, the costumes, or the suspense as you head home that implants the memory. Similarly, a dinner with a friend when you compare your entrees or share a bite of their dessert or complain about the service keeps it far fresher in your memory than the same dinner delivered and eaten in front of the TV. I travel alone a lot of the time and have trouble identifying people and pictures I took and places I visited, even remembering what city I was in. But when I travel with another, pointing things out to each other, comparing reactions to artworks, or debating the significance of anomalies in ancient sites, that ensures that the memories stick. So each of us has the opportunity to make memories each day, or forget events. And what you choose, subconsciously or not, to recall or eliminate, tells you a great deal about yourself. For instance, if you remember every insult, every affront, every sour glance sent your way, you probably find yourself living in a very hostile world. On the other hand, the person who chooses not to remember any of the bad times lives in a wonderland, but isn't very well prepared for trouble. The person who forgives but doesn't forget is probably the best prepared. but perhaps ever on the lookout for trouble. And then there are the triggers. A whiff of the particular perfume that your mother wore brings a smile to your face, while a tinge of chemo returns one to the fears and hopes of that hospital room. Memories that escape at the song of a useful romance, or at the opening notes of the hymn from a loved one's funeral. The smell of fish and chips as you walk past a shop that makes you salivate. The touch of a dog's fur recalls a sandy beach with your best friend chasing a stick into the surf. The sweetness of a spring strawberry takes you back to a day under the sun picking them with your children. Or aromas wafting from a curry shop springs forth memories of drinking a ton of water while dining at your best friend's home. So many childhood memories stand out because of what we were eating. Dad making giblet stew every Thursday while Mother's shop was open late. Leaning out our apartment window to watch her walking up from the streetcar stop on St. Clair. The delights of the stuffed roast chicken that Mother made for every Sunday. Memories that were sad at one time become cherished with age. School, work, church, romance, shopping, hobbies, sports, all provide us with memories. Is it the great teacher or the schoolyard bully who stands out when you look back? Was your older brother a hero for holding your sister by her heels over the staircase after she picked on you? Or was he the nightmare who warned all the boys off his younger sisters when they wanted to date? And when you reminisce over those days, are you happy or sad? I must admit that I'm delighted to have joined the ranks of those who can say, with a mainly straight face, when I was your age, and then wax eloquent on my latest gripe. What we remember and what is remembered of us in many ways charts how well we've lived. After all, we waste much of our life engaged in the necessities of life, eating, sleeping, making a living, caring for our home and family. But there are gems in each of those activities, and they are the ones that stay with us. And gems can be positive or negative, productive or disappointing, but they had something that made them stand out. And the family trip from hell, as I am wont to recall it, has become a laughter-filled memory whenever recalled in family gatherings. Not that I will ever take a family trip again. I suppose the ultimate in one's history is what is said in one's eulogy. Not that we usually get to write that one. I asked a friend what he would like to be said. That I was smart enough to never get married. Well, I suspect he won't be remembered that way by others. And my choice would be a simple, she tried. But most eulogies go on about many of the things one would consider unworthy of mention or wish were forgotten. Mind you, few go on for the 2 hours plus of multiple speakers that I once endured at St. Paul's. So how will we be remembered? What will our history book record? All of these meanderings lead up to me challenging you to do a simple check on what you find memorable and what you are forgetting. For the next week or month, check out what you consider important in your daily life as your history is being recorded in your memory banks. Grab a notebook, write the date, and then record the good things that happened. Just a few words to bring it back to mind. And then another entry for the bad. Try to keep it to 2 or 3 things that stand out when you sit down with your book. You may find day after day something sits in the same column. For the plus side, relaxing in the hot tub. Or for a minus, listening to elevator music at the office. If nothing comes to mind, leave it blank. But you might want to ponder how a day can be that blah. If it was an horrendous day, say so and why. Horrible commute, late to the office, behind all day, snarly boss. And finally, make a note or circle the entry that you expect to stay with you, that you think you will be recalling a month from now. Here's my past week. I do it on my computer in columns and color code whether my choice memory is good, green, or bad, red, but whatever works for you. Very simply, at the end of the week, I can look back on a week that had 5 days dominated by potentially happy memories and 2 days of bad ones. I can live with those odds. A month from now, check out if you remember any of this. Odds are that the fact you made written notes and thought about the events of your day has increased the odds of remembering. It's why those who keep a diary or write letters home telling of the goings-on of the day have better memories of what happened. So pick what is good and positive and improves your life and for which you would want to be remembered. Work at filling your life with the events and people that enrich you and your life and your history. Work at changing things for the better. Whether you start with your diet or opposing the new rail cutting through the neighborhood or fighting for justice for your favorite cause. Use your own little history in the making project to discover who you are in how you spend your time, on what you enjoy and what irritates. Guaranteed these are gems, the vignettes, and your history, the beneficiary. And for the finishing edit, the rule for memories and erasures goes something like this. Blessed are those who can give without remembering, and take without forgetting. Blessings on you and all you do as we emerge into this new world together. If you haven't had your second shot, I got mine this week. Do book that trip to your drugstore for you and yours and all the rest of us. So may it be. Amen. Diary keeping is the relic of another age. Diaries now tend to be online and really are just date books. But looking back each day at what one has done eventually tells us where we're going and if we're moving on the path that leads to where we want to be. As you check your personal history, try working towards this goal. Aspire to inspire before you expire.